What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another One Piece review slash discussion slash prediction because we don't know where it's going. I was super hyped when I read this chapter on Friday, so I just want to get straight to it. What I like to do is I like to break it down with the official Viz release because I feel like with Oda, he does a lot of wordplay, guys. He plays with the words a lot, and I feel like the official would be the closest we could get to anything he means. So I want to do that. I'm probably going to go off chapter, off topic a lot in this one. It's amazing. This chapter was just insane. So let's just get straight to it. I love how it picked up straight where it left off last chapter. Luffy eating that attack after the CPO members, interruption in his fight. And as we said, as I knew, Kaido was not going to let him go. What caught my surprise in the first 3 pages was how there's another CPO member watching. So my question is, because the Gorosei seemed like they knew exactly what was going on, does that mean that this guy or maybe the other guy, somehow they are like using a Denden Mushi, they're streaming whatever's happening on Onigashima to the Gorosei, and that's how like the Gorosei knew what was going on. That's why the Gorosei got scared that Luffy's near awakening, because the Gorosei know he has the Gomu Gomu fruit. And if that's the fruit, which now we know probably is the fruit that's been renamed, then that makes sense that they want to kill him before there's a chance for him to awaken. And then we'll see Luffy's the air strength, because remember, Luffy said when he goes into Gear 4, he loses his haki with it as well. So he kind of infuses his haki with the air that he takes in. The air leaves his body. We see him, he flies off as the air is coming. Think of it like a balloon. When you let it go, the balloon flies off and the air's coming out. And Kaido looks up, and then Momo we already knew. Momonosuke, he can hear the voice of all things. So Momo's like, I can't hear Luffy's voice anymore. I'm assuming the voice of all things has to do something with the soul or life, like in a soul way. So he's like, I can't hear him anymore. So that's where we know Luffy's probably dead. I mean, we don't know at that point, but Kaido does announce that he's dead, and then we'll see the announcer box. Battle rooftop, Skull Dome, winner Kaido, King of the Beast, and then we'll see Kaido's just looking, he's just staring daggers at the CPO member, and then we'll see again Kaido's like, so you prepared for what happens next? He wants him to know. Kaido knows that he would have made his peace before he came and interrupted his fight. Kaido just swings it, and you know what? I give it a bit to the CPO member. I give him a bit because he didn't try to run, like, let's be honest, he's not going to be able to outrun Kaido. He just stands there and eats it. He knows Kaido's not going to let him go. He takes it. He's probably dead. Let's just assume that. And then we get the other CPO member who's just, tips his hat to his fellow CPO member, and then we get cut to Kawamushi. Hope I'm getting his name right. I mean, it'd be embarrassing. Kawamatsu, apologies. I had a, when you say something and you're like, that doesn't feel right. That's what that was. Kawamatsu, obviously, he's complaining. He's a fisherman. We already know that. He's complaining there's no water. He could have doused the whole place, put the fire out. And I love the breath blast. I love the way that One Piece Oda has shown dragon breath in general. And like, he uses the breath, that's that blast, blows the roof, comes in. Now he's demanding Momonosuke's surrender and telling everybody that Luffy's dead. And if anybody else wants to challenge him, come forward. I love that. It's like, he's beat him. He's like, next. Anybody else up next? Nobody wants to go. Obviously, Beast Pirates, they're celebrating. Samurai, the Pirate Alliance, they cannot believe it. And one of the things that got me this chapter starts from here is, first bit that kind of shocked me was Law saying he can't hear Luffy's voice anymore. Does that mean Trafalgar could also hear the voice of all things? Is that something to do with people who are connected to the ancient kingdom? Maybe something to do with Will of D, because, I mean, it makes sense that people with the Will of D might not all have the D, like the D middle name in their names. What is it? Is it any of that? we see Kid and Law again. They said they were done, but they did stand up because at the end of the day, even when you're done and you know there's no way out, you still try to do everything. Like they know they gotta die. They don't want. They'd rather die than surrender, than be caught by Kaido and made into a slave, as he said. Obviously, we get the Straw Hat crew, a part of them: Chopper, Nami, Tama. Tama's crying, Chopper's crying. Nami challenging Kaido, I won't lie, that shocked me, and I was impressed with her. Like, she stood up where I thought, like, you know, she always gives the scaredy vibe, but she went in there. I respect that a lot. And then we get Marco stepping in, stopping the the breath attack, the breath blast becomes breast. The breath blast. I love it because that kind of like the way the blast is being eaten with the wings. It looks like he's just done like a half kind of wing. He's just swinging it in some kind of a wheel to block the attack. And Marco is more. This is where experience comes in. Marco's like, don't lose your composure, not before it's all over. So the way Marco's seen it is, even if Luffy is dead, we still haven't lost. That means Kaido's taking damage as well. There's gotta be hope, and that's the experience that comes from being Whitebeard's, you know, first mate for all these years. And then we'll see Kaido going to full on, you know, dictator mode. I love it. I love like how he's like, you fought back against me. This is the price of losing a war. And that's, in a sense, I love how others bring in a lot of, like, this is, I'm assuming this is like the Wano arc is kind of like the Sengoku era of Japan and like medieval Europe. Whereas in a war, when a side lost, they're truly, even their children and women and children would have been made slaves. Makes sense. Others portraying that in a beautiful way in this, like with Kaido's way of putting it into words. And some samurais we see, they break down. He's like, no, please, not my wife and children. But some of the other ones, they're shook a bit. But I would expect that kind of declaration to rile up the samurais even more. Then we better go down dying, as the name of the chapter says. So we die together, dying together. So like they would want to take Kaido down with them. That's what I would assume would happen. And then obviously still demanding for Momonosuke to be brought to him. Some beast pirates, I don't know why, they thought they could just roll up on Law and Kid. Of course, Law and Kid got their own crew. That's not gonna happen. We'll see the minks, they're trying to run up. They want to get up there. And then we get to the basement. Again, Law and Kid, they getting up, but we see they can barely stand. So they're not gonna fight. That cuts away to Momo. Okay, I know he's a kid. He's probably, what, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid. But him wanting to surrender. And I love how Yamato is there. Like, Yamato's like the wisdom to an inexperienced leader in a way. Where Yamato's like, surrendering doesn't mean anything. It's not salvation. We gotta at least die fighting. That's the only thing we can do at this point. And so they like the way it shows the samurai and the beast pirate fighting in the middle, where Momo's on the right, Yamato's on the left, looking each other in the eye. You know, you can see the resolve in Yamato's eye, and I'm assuming that from the looks of it, that looks like it's inspiring Momo. And then we see cut back down. We see, you know, Kaido's again breath blasting. He loves that breath attack, and I kind of love it. It looks cool. And then we cut to the top of Onigashima. The the drum sound. If you look to the tiny sound effects, we have them in every panel. And then we cut off to Zunisha. He's telling Momo that he can hear it. It's been a long time. Obviously, Momo doesn't know what's going on, so he asks. Drums of Liberation. I love the fact that it's called Drums of Liberation, because I'm going to get further back into this. Before I go off topic for the, probably not the first time during this video, I want to finish this first bit here of me analyzing the chapter first from what I saw. We saw, like it's tiny details, but we see Luffy's mouth is down. He's not the happy smile, it's the sad thing. He's dead. But then we see his hand got the two lines next to it that like it's moving. That's the first sign. It's a tiny detail, but I think it's amazing. Then we get, obviously, Momo asking. Then it shows a zoomed out panel of Zunisha hearing the drums. I love how when it comes to Momo, on the Momo's panel, we don't get the drums because he can't hear them. That's a nice way of interpreting who can hear it, who can't hear it. And then he tells him, drums of liberation, it's been 800 years. I'm assuming the drums of liberation are wrong when this devil fruit awakens. I'm assuming Luffy's devil fruit, whatever it might be, requires the user to die. And the drums of liberation might be the sound of the heartbeat coming back strong. And then he's like, he's here. Momo still doesn't know who. Zunisha drops it. Joyboy's here. Joyboy has returned. And then we see Luffy with that, I want to say iconic smile, but feels a bit foreign. It feels like it's not Luffy. So now I want to get down what any of these means. For me personally, I've got a list here, as always, guys, when I read it. Because sometimes something comes to you and then you forget it. So I always like to write the list these days just to make sure I don't forget them. So I did mention the CPO member. Here's something interesting. When Who's Who was talking about the slaves in the ancient kingdom and throughout history, that they prayed to Nika, the sun god. I do read the scan version of it, whereas the sound effect on the final panel was translated as Nika. And that kind of, I remembered Nika was the sun god, the ancient slaves prayed to, and then that reminded me of something. If you guys remember, during the Skypiea arc, I've actually went back and found the chapter. I think it was chapter 287. Let me confirm it here. I do have it. Yep. Chapter 287. There was a page that showed Robin being brought to some ritual place. And then they mentioned, the Skypiea people mentioned 4 gods. The sun god, the rain god, the forest god, and the earth god. And I came up with a theory about that, which I am gonna mention later into this video, because I feel like it's based on this video. I feel like it makes sense to me. I want to get everybody else's opinion. And then I'm looking further in, and then there was the whole thing with the reason why I think this theory makes sense is, if you remember, during the celebration at the end of Skypiea, after they beat NL, there was the bit everybody was dancing. That guy who was not unconscious, opens the drapes to where all the sick people were, and he sees the people of the 2 tribes are dancing, and then he gets shocked when he sees Luffy, and Luffy kind of had that same form of figure as Nika on Who's Who speech bubble. And that led me to think of something. The Skypiea people mentioned 4 gods, and here we see Luffy awakening as Joyboy. So what if Joyboy is not, what if Joyboy and Nika are one and the same? Okay, so hear me out. Throughout history, one thing we've seen Oda do is he loves to take inspiration from actual events that have happened. I mean, throughout history, we have people who've been known by 2 different names or 3 different names or different monikers or however you want to call them. They're known by different names to different groups of people. So what if Joyboy and Nika are one and the same? And the 4 gods, which Nika being the sun god, here's where the theory comes in, is that if Luffy is Joyboy, who in turn is also Nika, Luffy / Joyboy / Nika, he's one of the 4 gods. That means there's got to be 3 other gods. So far we've seen, and it's a bit off, but what Nami showed here, standing up to to Kaido of all people. We know that dragons are creatures of rain and storm. So the rain god of rain, would be the one to stand up to a dragon. And Nami keeps, with her weapon, keeps summoning thunder and rain. Now she's got Zeus. She being the rain god. Maybe. We're gonna go from that. The other god was forest god. Again, we got another Straw Hat member who uses forest/plant kind of animal during the 2-year gap. He was training in some form of forest, and all of his attacks are plant-based. Usopp, forest god? Question mark. The theory to me makes sense, but then I can't think of anybody for the fourth one that's on the Straw Hat crew. But I have a good candidate for the Earth god to me, which would be Blackbeard. Think about it. Everybody, when they think of Earth, they always think about, like in the certain term of Avatar, The Last Airbender, bending Earth, moving Earth, or anything. But think about it. Deeper inside Earth is dark. Earth itself, I think, what's this expression? That the Earth can swallow things up when it opens and it's a dark abyss under. Kind of describing Blackbeard's fruit. The darkness fruit. Everybody assumed it's going to be a Logia. It's not. Or even if it is, the user doesn't have the Logia ability, I'm assuming, until they awaken or something. But it makes sense. It can devour things. It can, swallow things up. It can spit them back out. Volcanoes, they spit things back out from inside Earth. And in general, it would make sense because remember, I'm not sure if this was correct or not. I'm not sure if I'm remembering correct. If I am not, please do put it down. The way I see it is if Nika and the 4 gods are actually existing and Joyboy and Nika being the same person, I don't see them would have lost the ancient war unless somebody big, somebody high up would have betrayed them. And it would make sense. Because the way for me that is going, I feel like Blackbeard is being set up to be the main final villain who fights. And we've seen Blackbeard know some things that makes no sense. Like, how did Blackbeard know he could take a second devil fruit? And he said he joined Whitebeard's crew to look for the darkness fruit. Yummy no mi. He joined when he was a kid. So there's a lot here. I feel like, to me, this theory about the 4 gods makes sense. And with Luffy, again, his dancing pose in Skypiea being almost looking like the dancing pose of Nika. And again, him, I don't believe he's eaten any form of a mythical Zoan, as I've said it before. I thought maybe his fruit would give him a form of, unbreakable kind of body. I still feel like whatever the fruit is, it's got to have a more of a solid version, which is rubber, and a liquid version. I thought about it. There's liquid rubber. I did a bit of research. Liquid rubber does exist. I think it's because rubber was a lot of the things we have a different form in nature. So I'm assuming there's going to be a form of liquid rubber in nature. And maybe whatever the devil fruit is, Luffy's devil fruit might be same as Blackbeard's devil fruit. Like, what if there's a group of devil fruits that can have different forms? For example, liquid rubber, which Luffy is going into now, would be a Logia type of fruit, whereas his normal fruit mode would be, I believe he's a Parmesia. So, what if Blackbeard is the same? He's a Parmesia. Well, Parmesia affect themselves and affect around them. And once Blackbeard awakens, he can have the full darkness Logia. Because darkness have... If light is Logia, then darkness, opposite of it, should be Logia. Which is the same as fire and ice. Magma and ice. So, let me know what you guys think about this. The 2 theories that we put out here. With Luffy's devil fruits having 2 modes, or 2 forms. A Logia and a Parmesia, which I'm thinking might be the same for Blackbeard. As I feel like if Luffy being the Joyboy, if Luffy being the light, the good, Blackbeard is being the dark, the evil. They're both rising up at the same time. And another thing that makes me think Luffy being Nika and Joyboy makes sense is that it said the ancient slaves who prayed to Nika was for freedom. And let's look. Luffy has freed so many people throughout his journey. He's freed Alabasta. He freed the town that he met Zoro in. He freed them from Morgan. That's like at the very beginning. So if it is with Luffy being Joyboy and Nika, well, Joyboy confirmed. Is he also Nika? Then I'll give it to Oda. And hats off to Oda. I love him. He's given me such an amazing part of my life in One Piece. And the fact that he managed to plan that far ago and build it into this is just amazing. If him being Nika with someone who's meant to set people free, everywhere Luffy's gone, he's changed people. Hell, he's even changed. Marco's on his side now. He was he was first mate of a Yonko. Shanks is on his side. He's a Yonko. Completely forgot Big Mom's name, like Big Mom's son. Katakuri at the end started admiring Luffy. It looked like he's starting to look up to Luffy and like, as in like, not be as hostile. Same way kind of happened with King a bit. Because King now realized that Kaido's not, but he's still sticking with Kaido. That's fair play. So overall, like, Luffy is a liberator. So him being Nika / Joyboy makes sense. My main concern now is now that he died, his voice disappeared. I'm assuming if we say the voice of all things has to do with the souls of all things, because even inanimate objects have souls. Like, the soul, I'm assuming, is some form of a force energy that's, an inanimate object would gain when its creator is putting the effort to create it. So, if Luffy's soul left him, and now he's smiling, and Zunisha saying Joyboy's returned, is he gonna have memories of what happened? Is he gonna have maybe memories of fighting abilities? Is he just inheriting fighting abilities? Is it Luffy coming back, like the Fruits Awakening, Luffy coming back and he's gonna figure everything out himself? I truly hope that it's not gonna be ooh, I'm reincarnated. Oh, I've been Monkey D. Luffy all these years. I'm still gonna keep being Monkey D. Luffy, but now I know everything that's happened. Because I feel like Luffy just gaining magical knowledge out of nowhere and knowing everything might defeat the purpose, but then again, I trust in Oda. He has delivered so well, week in and week out, that I just am sad that I gotta wait 2 more weeks to see what's gonna come next. I can't believe that we got the break, but I honestly was expecting a break, because the way I see it is, the way Oda does it is he releases 3 chapters, a break, 3 chapters, a break, and with how you got to think about it, with how Oda's been the pinnacle of manga, like art, story, everything's been perfect with One Piece, especially with Wano arc. He deserves every rest he gets, and this chapter alone, to me, this chapter's in my top 5. Like, this chapter for me is as amazing as the one where Nekomushi and the dog guy told the Scabbards and the Stride crew that Royce was safe. The one with Whitebeard showing up to Marineford, for me, was amazing. Garp being Luffy's grandpa, another one of those amazing moments. Shanks and Whitebeard going at it. For me, those chapters are always pinnacle, because you've seen something epic, and that's what I've seen here. And I just can't wait. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you watch this, guys, do drop a comment. Let me know what you think about my 2 theories of the 4 gods theory and the 2 forms of devil fruit that Luffy's devil fruit's gonna have. And I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter as much as I have. It was an amazing chapter, and I hope I see you guys in my review / discussion / prediction for the next bit. I feel like the next chapter, I haven't done much prediction, so I'm going to do it right here before I end this video, which is going on for quite a while now, a lot longer than my older videos. I feel like when Kaido gets beaten now, because Kaido's going to get beaten, Luffy's awakening. I feel like the announcer bubble here, it said Kaido, winner Kaido. It didn't say Luffy versus Kaido, winner Kaido, the same way as it said with Kid in Law versus Big Mom. It said the battle on the roof because other people kept coming in. I'm assuming the next one is either gonna say Luffy versus Kaido, winner Luffy, or Luffy versus, Joyboy versus Kaido, winner Joyboy. And again, with the whole thing, there's still one more CPO member that can make a move. I just wanted to remind everybody of that. That just Luffy awakening here, there's still somebody else who could cause potential interference or attack on Luffy, surprise attack. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope I see you guys in the next chapter. As always, guys, stay safe and take care.